Howie Combrink is sitting down on our couch. Howie, thank you for sitting down with me.
Thank you very much for having me.
Well, it's an absolute pleasure. So we're here to talk about your release of your first single as a solo artist, right?
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah, that's it.
It's like you're looking a little bit confused there. Okay, cool. So you've released your first single as a solo artist, but you usually drum. Well, we've known you to drum in bands up until now. So how did this all come about?
Well, drumming has been my thing for many years. I love drumming. I studied it, and I kind of grew up drumming, you know. But I also grew up playing guitar, but it was always a sideline thing. And for many years, I wanted to actually do a solo album, but I could never really pinpoint. For about 5-6 years, I would go into the studio and record a song. I went from everything from heavy metal to like dance music.
That's a big jump.
Yeah, to dubstep, and I tried absolutely everything, man. And eventually, due to events in my life, I sort of found the genre that I went for now, and I absolutely love it. You know, it's a newfound sort of love for the acoustic guitar.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's interesting. That's kind of how it came about. But it's something I've always wanted to do my whole life.
Do you find as a drummer, you get left like in the like darkness a little bit?
You do. It's very different being up front. You know, my first couple of shows, being a frontman and talking to the audience is very, very different. You know, you've got as a drummer, you've got this little cage.
Yeah, and your like safety bubble.
Yeah,
right?
you can just hide.
You're just there.
You can actually, in between songs, you can literally get behind the kid and hide if you need to. But up front, there's no ways you can do that. So it's a big difference. But I love it. It's quite addictive.
Was it an adjustment to make, or were you always meant to be in the spotlight?
I don't know. I've always tried to sort of entertain as much as possible from the back without looking like a fool, you know. but you know, when I went out and did my first show as a solo artist singing for an audience, it was in a very, very small pub, in front of about 5 or 6 very drunk people. So
it's easier when they're drunk, I think.
Much easier, yeah.
They love anything.
Now those pubs are like our worst nightmares
really?
To play for. You know, we want to do the big shows now. You know, kind of got over the fear.
Well, I spoke to Phil Perkis recently, and he said that playing for a smaller audience is actually more nerve-wracking because you can see everyone.
Yes, and they're silent, and they they're right up here in your face, and in between songs they don't say anything. They kind of just stare at you with these like little grins on their faces, and you know, if you're not feeling too inspired to speak much, it gets kind of awkward. But I've got verbal diarrhea the best of times, so it kind of works. I just tell stories, you know.
What kind of stories do you tell? Like general life?
General life. If I fell off a bridge into a river on the way to the gig, I'll share that story.
Does that
at the
happen
show.
often?
No. no, that's just using an example there. But you know, kind of talk about your day, and if something interesting happens, share it with the audience. I think they kind of find that interesting, you know.
So your sound, we think, is very Jack Johnson vibey. Where did you get inspiration for this sound?
Well, you know, ironically, I never really listened to much Jack Johnson in my past. I didn't really listen to a lot of acoustic music aside from the Dave Matthews Band.
Right.
And then...
You are awesome, by the way.
Yeah, one of the best shows ever. But anyway, that's a whole different interview.
That's another thing.
Yeah. And then I kind of got a job in the Seychelles, and I'd been working in the theatre world for about 5 years before that, so kind of in the pit and in the darkness, and you know, the band is the myth, you know.
It's like you've emerged from the darkness now.
So yeah, and then I took this gig in the Seychelles, and it was a regular thing, and every day we kind of didn't do much, so we sat around, and I had a little acoustic guitar, like a baby acoustic with me there. And started jamming and started writing stuff, and I think that whole atmosphere sort of started creeping into my soul, and that's pretty much where the sound came about. And then someone very special sort of came around into my life, and aside from this person really influencing me, it was also, she introduced me to a lot of bands like Jack Johnson and Ben Howard and various other artists, and that kind of changed my whole perspective as to, and I was like, this is exactly where I need to go, you know. And it was almost instantaneous. I was like, that's it, that's the genre, I want to do this, you know, acoustic, happy music, beach music.
Your music is very happy.
Yeah.
Is it just because you're a happy guy?
Yeah, generally. I mean, life's too short to be sad,
yeah.
You know? I think you just got to bounce off the walls as much as you can and run around and speak to people and have verbal diarrhea.